No need to go far and wide. Let Hometown provide. Hometown Trophies and Embroidery in Lena can help turn your ideas into reality. From awards, engraving, and gifts to custom apparel and business accessories, they have you covered. Visit them today or give them a call at 815-369-9185. That's Hometown Trophies Embroidery. Let your vision become their masterpiece.
When it comes to planning for your future, you want someone you can trust. At Prairie State Investments, Mark Pfeiffer is here to help you build a plan that fits your life, your family, and your goals. Whether it's retirement, college savings, or investing wisely for tomorrow, Mark has the knowledge and local commitment to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future up to chance. Call Mark Pfeiffer at Prairie State Investments today at 815-668-8131 and start investing with confidence. Welcome to NUIC All Access, joined by Jay Doyle. I'm your host, Kyle Kampmier. Today we feature two guests from the Eastland volleyball program. Jay, introduce our guest to us today.
All right, Kyle. Today's guests are Eastland head coach Katie Krogman-Grobe and outside hitter Trixie Carroll. Here's a look what they've accomplished. Katie is a 2018 graduate of Eastland High School, a 2015 volleyball state champion, a 2016 volleyball state runner-up, four-time regional champion in volleyball, honorable mention all-conference and second-team all-conference in basketball, Village Voices honorable mention all-area and second-team all-area in basketball, Sauk Valley honorable mention all-area basketball, Sauk Valley and Jim Shaw All-Star Games, Shaw Media MVA Award nominee, three-time all-conference in track, was the polo head coach in 2023 and 2024 with an overall record of 29 and 39, and returned to Eastland, and currently this season is 5-2. The other guest, what are you going to go on with?
I was going to say I forgot to put in Katie's all-conference nominations and all-state nominations for volleyball, too. So clearly a stud athlete in her day for the Cougars.
Yes. And then now Trixie, Central Michigan volleyball commit, first team all conference in volleyball, basketball, and track as a freshman, two all tournament teams in volleyball, state bound for track in the 4x100. As a sophomore, was first team unanimous in volleyball, four all tournament teams in volleyball, first team all conference in basketball, AVCA Phenom watch list, JVA 2024 watch list. As a junior, first team unanimous all conference in volleyball, all tournament team in the Oregon and the Eastland volleyball tournament, JVA 2025 watch list, all state second team in volleyball, and so far this year as a senior, all tournament team at the Oregon volleyball tournament.
Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Katie, we're going to start with you first. You were brought up in a great athletic family that we were just talking about before we came on air, with both the Krogman and Ludwig families having great success. Then you get to play for legendary coaches in Christy Pierce, Colleen Finhenze, and Nicole Brinker. What was life growing up like, and how did playing for these high-profile coaches help shape who you are?
I think the way I grew up was very, very competitive. And I think being around competitive women made me an even further competitive woman. I think that I got to be coached by some of the greatest coaches in the state of Illinois, not just in our little Northwestern bubble. And that's definitely shaped not only the athlete I was, but now the coach that I am.
So your mom also helped coach at Forston under Nicole Brinker in her time with the Cardinals, and then helped coach Eastland under Colleen Finhenze as well. You were around those two coaches long before you ever got to play for them. How has their influence helped shape who you are today as both a teacher and a coach?
Yeah, they're both great teachers and coaches. I think that when you're trying to juggle between both of those things, it can be very hard. So they definitely have been people that I've needed in my corner, not only just in polo, but now my transition back to Eastland. They have both been very helpful in that journey for me.
So your dad, Pat, played for a state title in basketball in 1994 at Northeast in Goose Lake, Iowa. Between yourself, your sister Carly, and now your brother Parker, you have all played for state titles. Your dad was a basketball player at Mount St. Clair, and your mom, Becky, played basketball at Highland, and then volleyball, softball, basketball, and tennis at Mount St. Clair as well. What was it like growing up in that kind of a sports family? You kind of talked about it a little bit about how athletic your family was and competitive, but there had to be some like fights going on and pickup games, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I have a video playing Parker in Pig when he's like 6, and I think that's just kind of how it's always been. We're super competitive, like it can just be bags or cards or something. We're always playing some sort of game or making it a competition. Also, my husband and my brother-in-law now, Brett, he was a first team All-Stater for baseball. My husband was an All-Stater for football, so I feel like we just continue to grow the competition within our family, and it doesn't usually stop. And I think that, if Parker does end up being a coach someday, I will not be shocked because we've all been coaches in some realm.
So when you guys play a pickup game and everybody gets around, who's your first pick?
Now, current, I'm going to pick Parker.
Much younger. He could probably get stuff done more than mom or dad right now, right?
Yeah.
Trixie, you grew up playing a lot of sports. At what age did you start playing sports, and how did you get involved?
So my mom definitely got me involved. I'm pretty positive my first ever sport, if we're counting it, was t-ball. And then I continued playing softball until I stopped my freshman year. I started playing basketball in kindergarten, and my mom definitely influenced that too, but also my older sister Talena. When I was younger, she was a 3-sport athlete. Um, and I looked up to her a lot, and she definitely she plays a big part in why I played so many sports.
So from what we've heard and listed from your accomplishments, you've been a 2-sport star most of your career. You're returning to basketball this year. Was there something missing from not playing last year that helped influence you to want to go back out this year, being your last year at Eastland?
So the biggest reason why I didn't play last year was because of volleyball, and club last year was really important to me. And I'm pretty big into like mental health in sports and making sure that there's a balance. And I knew that I was not in the right headspace to be able to balance club volleyball at that time with basketball. Um, but I mean, this year it's my senior year of high school. I think I've definitely grown since then. I think I'll be able to balance it. Um, and it's going to be the last time I get to play sports with my friends. So,
And if you decide not to play, we'll be all right with it. I'll talk to Coach Brinker. We'll be all right with it. If you decide not to, at least early on, you don't need to. Maybe you guys will keep playing volleyball, and we won't have to see you at the first holiday tournament down at Forston. That'll be all right.
He's kidding.
I'm kidding. No bias here. No Orangeville bias.
definitely playing. I shook Brinker's hand this year.
Yeah, and she would let if you go back on a handshake, she'll let you have it.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. Katie, you played with your sister Carly and had a lot of success. What experience was that like for you?
Honestly, like one of the greatest things that I've ever gotten to do in my life. Not only being successful, but being successful with my sister. Like, we have so many pictures together, holding plaques, holding trophies, like getting to do and compete in very high level situations. And that's just one of the best feelings. And if I could relive any moment, it would be playing with her. And now that I get to coach with her, it's still a lot of fun. And I love coaching with her, but like, we would love to be out there in high stake moments when the pressure's on. Like, we would rather just go out there instead of having to stand on the sidelines.
It definitely gives you a different view from the seat, so to speak, when you can't be on the floor anymore and you can only help to encourage the players that you have in front of you, right?
Yeah, and I think that I probably am gonna need like a pacemaker or something so my heart is like regulated correctly, because my heart rate's just crazy all over the place.
Trixie, back in June, you made your commitment to Central Michigan. What other schools were showing interest in you at the time?
At the time,
I have went on a visit to Central Arkansas, and then I went on a visit to Davidson. I received an offer from St. Mary's too, but I never went on my visit there. There's some other schools. It definitely wasn't as chaotic as my first time through the process was. And I was a little nervous after I decommitted that I wasn't really gonna get any attention because it was pretty late in the recruiting process for my age or just my class. Um, but yeah.
What drew you to Central Michigan, and what do you think you'll be studying there?
Definitely the people. It was a really, really hard choice for me between Central Michigan and Central Arkansas, and my coaches at Central Michigan know that. Um, but it's definitely the people. The weather actually was um a big it was at first when I decommitted, it was a pretty big thing. I was like, okay, I want to go south and I'm going to Michigan. So I guess that kind of shows how much I like the school because I really, really wanted to go south.
So walk us through the moment that you knew you wanted to commit. What was the thought process there? You said that you liked the people. What other things were you looking at that said, I want to be a Chippewa?
So it was really, really stressful. Because AAU Nationals was coming up and coaches like they could talk to the next class after June 15th. So they kind of wanted to get everything done. And I was really stressed. I went to my grandma's house and I had a really long talk with her. She just let me sit there and rant to her forever. And I don't necessarily remember what was going through my head, but I left her house. I went home. I FaceTimed um, the head coach at Central Michigan, and I told her I wanted to go there.
Very cool.
Nice.
What was the most challenging part? Like, in young kids coming up, I think they think it's just an easy process. Like, hey, I'll just go here. This is what I want. But how did that challenge you? And like I said earlier, does that fit what you want to do when you accomplish with a 4-year degree in what you're going to study?
I think you asked me like the most challenging part, right? Wait, is that what
Yeah,
you said?
yeah.
Okay.
I think some people think it's easy. They're like, well, she has a Division 1 offer, so yeah, it'll be easy, or it's easy to pick. And I don't think people understand how hard it is to, because especially for a kid, they think it's like life and death, right? Like, oh my goodness, if I make the wrong choice, what happens? And you're in that situation where you decommit, and then
Yeah.
you got to repick, and you're worried about getting, and then you still have a couple options of what you want, but just what grounded you, and what do you think for young kids coming up? What's the hardest thing to handle?
Honestly, it was so much different my first time through the process and then after decommitting, but it really is stressful and you're definitely right. So many people are like think that it was really easy for me because I had gotten multiple offers. Um, but it really is challenging because it's like this is 4 years of my life and I want to go somewhere. I want to love it. I don't want to transfer out, which is exactly why I decommitted before I had gone there and knew like it wasn't right for me anymore. Um but I yeah, definitely like the pressure is the hardest part, but VC is great with recruiting. The people there are great. So I really just like knew and I was reassured constantly that I would find a school, everything would be okay. I just like had to stay calm, like when it was time, I knew it would be time. So
Cool.
So, Katie, how do you individualize coaching the athletes at different skill levels while still trying to maintain team unity?
I think this is a really great question, and I think that I do this well because I'm a teacher, so I'm used to students. Some students need me more, some students don't need me much at all, and I think that Trixie's a great example. She doesn't need me as much as some of the other players. Like, I don't have to tell her how to hit a ball. I don't have to tell her how to pass a ball. When she makes a mistake, she can recorrect herself. There's other athletes, and especially, we're kind of younger this year. Have two freshmen and a sophomore starting. They need that constant reassurance. They need that constant feedback because they haven't played in as many games or had as many scenarios as Trixie has. So just making sure that I'm giving my kids what they need. And that looks different for every athlete. And then as a whole, this is, I may say things in a timeout that Trixie already knows or some of my seniors already know, but everybody in the group needs to be on the same page about what we need to get done.
So what role does mental toughness play in your program, and how do you try to build that up?
I think it's a huge, huge component. I think that when you play at Eastland, and I know from playing at Eastland, you have a target on your back any game. You could be playing the worst team in the world and you have a target on your back. And I think that my kids have been put in a lot of pressure situations, being in regional finals, being in championships of tournaments, that high level stakes, they're used to that. I think that I need to continue to build that in practice a little bit more of putting my kids at a high risk situation and seeing how they react to that. My brother-in-law also studied a little bit into like the mental side of the game, and we did one of those trainings this summer, and I think it was very beneficial, and that's something that I plan to add back into our practices as we continue to move, get to middle of the season here in the next couple of weeks. That will really benefit us.
Well, that's awesome. Coach Brett Suave helping you out there. That's huge.
Yeah, I got some good ties, let me tell you.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you came back to Eastland, coming into a pretty talented team. What is a expectation that you gave them coming in, and what is something that you wanted to make sure when a team plays your team? We always ask that of a coach, like when you play a Eastland team that you're coaching, what do you want an opposing team to walk away knowing?
Can you repeat the end of that a little bit? Sorry.
So I always ask, like we had the Galena coach on last week, and he's a first year head coach at Galena. And we talked about when opponent walks away from playing in Eastland now in a match of volleyball or a game, what's the one thing that you want an opposing team and players and parents to know about your Eastland volleyball program?
I want them to be thinking, don't put me in a regional with them. That's what I want them to leave thinking.
Yep.
And to that, I just have really great kids. I think that, you're in a big, big spotlight to be the role models for younger kids. And I'm a fourth grade teacher, and I don't want any of my students looking up to girls that are not acting appropriately or well behaved or things like that. So I take that to heart a lot. And that's what, good sportsmanship and things like that, which my kids are great. So I haven't had any problems with that.
No, and we were having a discussion beforehand, and I can say that in not being to many volleyball games, but I know in coaching against Coach Brinker and that win or lose on both ends, we both feel like win or lose, it's a game, and you want people to walk away and root for your team. And we were talking off air about some teams we've witnessed, and it's like you have a hard time rooting for them with how they act when they win, because it's like it's pretty tough to root for. But it's like knowing I'm playing a Eastland team, I know they're going to be well coached, they're going to play aggressive, they're going to play hard, and if they win, they're going to shake your hand and say good game, and if they lose, they're going to shake your hand and say good game. And there's not any of the extra stuff, and that's always a positive in today's day and age.
Which is crazy that we have to have that conversation, but it's not. And even as a coach, we at Polo, I upset a couple teams, and it just wasn't reciprocated the way that I would want it to be if I would lose. So yeah.
Correct.
Totally understand that. It's never fun, never easy to be in those kinds of situations. Trixie, kind of bounce off what Katie said a little bit ago. As a senior, how do you set the tone for your teammates, being a leader and being a leader that everybody's actually looking at for your help and guidance on the court?
Yeah. So I love having fun. I love volleyball. But I think my teammates know that I'm they know when I'm serious and when I'm having fun. And since my teammates do look at me a lot, I need to know when I can have fun and when I need to be super locked in, super serious, because it really is going to set the tone for games or for practices. And I know that. So,
What's it like off court for you? Because I do whatever, like when you're a Facebook stalker like we are, we see those things come up for like the morning weight room and stuff, and you showing up and doing your thing. I think that's one of the ways you can lead off court, and showing the young girls like it just didn't happen. Like you didn't get to the level you're at by just showing up to volleyball and just spiking a ball. You put the work in all the sports, and doing the off season stuff. And what are some other things that you do off court to be a leader?
I constantly talking to my teammates, especially we do have the freshmen, especially the freshmen that I'm playing with. I'm really, really close with them. I think it's really important to have a close team, and we had to talk about this before. We're not all going to be best friends, but at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We all want to win. So I think that just everybody being good to each other is really important. And if there's something going on, I love when somebody comes to me and they talk to me about it. I'm like, okay, we need to fix this. Um, but other than that, really just checking in on people, just making sure everything's going well. Everybody's good.
So how do you handle the pressure of being the player everyone's watching? It's one of those things that Katie's already kind of touched on. Being a part of the Eastland program, everybody has your eyes on you already as a program, but being the player that you're going to Central Michigan, everybody knows this. Everybody's there to see what Trixie Carroll does. What's that? How do you handle that?
Honestly, I've been dealing with this pressure for 4 years, and I think the pressure has grown. I think I've handled it a lot better. Especially my freshman year, but also my sophomore year, I did not handle the pressure well. I definitely crumbled a lot of games because I didn't really know what to do. But it's definitely just a learning game, learning how to deal with it, and just it's a small town. Stuff gets around. Learn to ignore what people say. Just focusing on myself, focusing on my team.
Katie, what's your vision for Eastland athletics in the next 3 to 5 years? Developly, competitively, culturally. What are some things you want to do to improve some areas or be a part of?
I think one of the craziest things to me is when I came in, I was a part of 4 regional titles, which I get that's crazy to do in one sport. Don't get me wrong, I was a part of a lot of great teams. It totally wasn't me till my senior year. I'm fully understand that. But the fact that this senior crew has not won a regional in anything is the craziest thing. We're at Eastland, we got the whole wall, it's a whole thing. So that is goal number one. These girls need to be holding a regional plaque, and that's first and foremost. And then after that, the culture, I think we've gone through a lull a little bit, which is again crazy. I was at Polo, and I don't think they had a regional title since the 80s. So for some schools, it's totally the normal. It's not the normal here, and I would like to get back to a place where we are contending for a regional plaque every single year. And then the next couple years, I have a great staff in the junior high and the 6th grade programs that I'm fully confident in. They come to me, they talk to me, they're running open gyms in the summer. We started summer leagues at the junior high level. We are continuing to progress at a younger level so that the kids come to me and they're already knowledgeable. And I think that puts your program ahead. And that's something that I'm going to continue to push for our volleyball program.
You touched on it right there. That's something that a lot of programs are now leaning to and expecting out of their coaches, which ultimately puts more on your plate as well. But being able to reach out to the junior high or even the youth levels to help build things, create camps. So that's awesome. You're already ahead of that, and it's only your first year here. How do you plan to level up the program, whether it's your facilities, which at Eastland are already pretty good around the conference, but your coaching staff you just touched on? What else do you do for like training techniques to help yourself stay ahead? Weight room, conditioning, stuff like that.
Well, I think our weight room, Chris Sturts does a fabulous job with Zach Hook. I was running everything by myself at Polo, so having people who are actually knowledgeable in those areas is amazing. We lift 2 days a week during season. My kids lifted 3 days a week starting the end of May all the way through till dead week. So I think that's just a program that's going to continue to grow and get my kids stronger. So that is just amazing. And I think that my sister and I and Taylor we're big college volleyball fans. So with the technology nowadays, I need a blocking drill for tomorrow. I looked up what is Nebraska doing for a blocking drill, and that's what we're doing tomorrow. Woo! So just continuing to, work and look at some of these college teams and what they're doing and make that work for us as well. So continuing, I do one same serve receive drill that I will probably do till I'm 150 that Trixie just loves and all the kids love.
It's awesome.
But other than that, constantly looking for drills and leveling up those things and make my kids work hard. I feel like I also have to be creative. Because I have Trixie, and if I just let her just blast balls at people, that's not helping anybody either. So we have to be more creative than normal because I have an athlete like
No,
hers.
you're right. You do.
Right. So you talked a little bit about going online, finding stuff. One of the things I found as a coach is to have that coach maybe you coached with, or for me, who I coached with, to bounce things off of, because they've been there, they've done that. Is there any coaches you talk to, any books you read, anybody you lean on, just to talk sometimes that, I think sometimes as any coach, you lose one game or you win a game, you always question yourself or how you're doing it to make sure you're doing it to the full and getting everything out of the players that you're coaching. Anybody or anything that you do extra?
My first and always backup is Nicole Brinker. I think that she gives fabulous life advice. I was having a hard time in the last couple weeks with playing time, and I was feeling very guilty and very am I doing the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And she just reminded me what a hard profession this is. I think that we all want to be glorious and win and do all that, but there's so many other feelings and things that go into coaching that make it so hard. So having somebody that is a coach and a successful coach at that is important. I also feel like my network of coaching and coaches is very large. So I'm always learning. Dale Dykeman is the Sterling head coach. I coach club with him. I love him. He calls me all the time. We talk about different things, talk about different lineups like that. Kelsey Thurman, who I took over for, I also have talked to her a couple times. And she's given me a lot of confidence in this is my program and given me the space to do what I feel is correct. But she's also there if I ever feel like I need something from her. So that's helped as well.
I think that's one of the things people don't understand is that, at the varsity level, at the JV fresh soft level, you're developing, you're trying to get everybody on board to make your varsity, because you're playing for something. You're playing for conference title. You got, more in volleyball, you guys have, round robin tournaments that you're playing for, and then trying to get your best position to win a regional, right? And I think sometimes it's really hard because, you're playing kids and not playing some kids, and everybody is someone's daughter and granddaughter and everything like that. And they think it's easy, but it really isn't. And being in that position and, for myself, and it was a little different. I always coached, the boys and everything like that, and coaching girls, it's a little different. And then having two daughters of my own, you see how it affects everybody. And I don't think people know the backside of it that coaches don't that they have to go through, that it's not that easy and it's not that glorious of, if you don't get a player in and you don't get that it does hurt a coach on the back end.
Yeah, and I think that it's even harder too in volleyball. Like, I can't just sub somebody in for 30 seconds. I can't just put somebody in, we were winning by a lot the other night. I told a girl she was going to go in the next rotation and the girl serves 10 more serves. Like,
Right.
People don't see that behind the scenes. And it's something that I definitely had a better tolerance for when I first started. And that's something that I would say that is like, I have a lot more empathy now than I did when I started for those kids that work really hard and still don't get to play.
Yeah, I think mainly in volleyball, because that's one of the sports, like you just said, that I don't think people understand. There should be a volleyball 101 of how you have to sub and how many subs you get and how it works in rotation and all of that. Because I think of any sport, I've always said it, I think the craziest parents are in volleyball. And just being around them all, I think it's like, because people don't understand how it works and how it is. And like you said, a player was going to go in and they serve 10 and you can't get them in, and you're only allowed so many things. And I don't even understand it, but I kind of understand it. And, but it's a whole different animal if you don't understand the game of volleyball. Because in basketball, I can just say, go in for so-and-so and go stand in the corner and set a pick and we're all good, but in volleyball, you can't do that. Yeah, so I think we'll go back to the basketball 101, and there should be that, just simply for the fact that I don't think people understand, like in a softball or a basketball or those sports, you can just sub a kid in and play a position. But in volleyball, there's different rules and regulations you have to go by. And different positions kids play, that it doesn't work that way. And I think some of the craziness would go away if people understood the game a little more. I don't understand it completely, but I know that there is a method to it. So you should put that on every year for your parents, and that'll help you out. Every coach should have to do that.
Rule change too. The rule changes, because the whole no double thing, everybody just wants to yell. There's
No double.
the no double on the second contact this year. Yeah.
So
I need to tell the whole world that one.
Everyone's calling for a penalty or a point, and it's not a point anymore.
Nope.
Kyle's volleyball illiterate sometimes.
I am not that illiterate when it comes to volleyball. Come on, man.
He plays sand volleyball, I think, here at Lake Somerset sometimes.
It's been a long time since I've done that.
He's a lot like, if you've ever watched Top Gun.
Oh, geez.
You ever watched Top Gun with the shirts off? That's Kyle in the summertime.
Yeah.
Getting his volleyball game on. He's like the goose.
Yeah. Goose kept his shirt on.
Okay.
Trixie, what do you want to accomplish at Central Michigan, both on and off the court?
On the court, I want to play to my full potential. I don't necessarily know what I want to do after college yet. I know I want to study psychology, but after that, I'm not too sure. I have a very, very big goal for myself to be MAC Player of the Year, which I think I can accomplish. But really just like knowing myself, getting to know myself more on the court, and just finding a balance between life, school, and volleyball, which I still have yet to find. So hope I get that one done.
How often will Mom make the trips down to Central Michigan? Will she be is she going to get a sideline pass to have that camera out taking them pictures?
She would do that. I don't know. I know she's going to go to as many games as she can. But I'm not too sure, because it's about with stops and everything, it's about a 8-hour drive from here. So it's not terrible, but it's not necessarily just like a easy trip.
Right.
It'll be easy for Mom. She'll make that trip. Guaranteed.
Yes, she will.
So, Trixie, looking back, what impact do you hope to leave at Eastland?
Like I said before, I mean, it's a super small school, and you don't really see like spotlight on athletes around here, especially female athletes. And especially in volleyball. It's just not really a thing around here. Um, but I really just hope to kind of inspire people, I guess, because s- sports are definitely more focused on guys sports around here. Everybody knows it. It's just a thing. Um, but just really like helping younger girls to understand that they can do it. I don't come from a family that necessarily has the means or like all like this money because we don't, but we still make it work. So just that there's always a way to get what you want in this sports area. There really is.
No, and that's one of the cool things you said that I hit with Kyle when we were talking about NUIC All Access, so we could get it out on Twitter and everything like that. And that was one of the things because Kyle had done NUIC football, and I'd get on with him and talk. And on the side, I'd always say, Kyle, I'm always the guy. If you talk to anybody, I come up with great ideas, but then it's like I come up with the great ideas, and then it's like hopefully someone else will. And Kyle did that because he already had NUIC football, but it was the comment was made last year. Wow, I can't believe how many girls, good athletes there are. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
Kyle's comment was, no, it's been that way. It's just there was never a way to get it out. And that's one of the things we wanted to accomplish doing this is you've seen yourself. I go back to Elena Rager last year and multiple other girls in the NUIC that have gotten Division I scholarship in whatever sport they play that don't get the notoriety, don't get the pub that, like you said, and I've coached a boys sport, and it is different, and that's our way of we're trying to get it the other way to get the names out of females and show that how special we have it as a conference. And with yourself this year going to Central Michigan, another NUIC female making it to the Division I level.
Mhm.
So that's always a good
Yeah.
feeling. That's always a good feeling for us that we want to get out there for people.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's gotten a lot better. Um, but there's so much more room to grow for female
Yep.
sports around here.
Yep.
Well, we're trying to aggressively work on that. So hopefully there's a lot of people that will tune into this show too, because I mean I think it's been great so far.
Yep.
And of course the having other female coaches on the show over the past 33 weeks or
Yep.
so has been outstanding. And we got some others that are coming up too that I have not announced yet, but we got plans in place to get them on as well. So it's growing, it's building, and we want to keep putting that product out there as well. So Trixie, what advice would you give to younger athletes chasing the same dream that you have?
My biggest advice is to prioritize mental health over your sport. Um, there's a big reason why I do, and being a multi-sport athlete my whole life, except my junior year of high school, there's been a lot of pressure on me. And even if you're not like the player that everybody's looking at, there's so much pressure on every single person that's on a team. Um, but but like I said before too, like you can really do whatever you set your mind to, no matter if, like your situation or anything, in my opinion, considering what I grew up with. And I'm pretty successful, I would like to think. So
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. No, on my end, just know that from another town to you, everyone roots for you. Everybody roots for um, any kid going and getting the opportunity that you have. That hope that you find what you want at college, finish it, and are successful in doing playing a game that you love. I think that's and for as on the coaching side, I hope you guys are able to get a seat in the regional and get to add to the hallway.
Yes, let's add to the hallway.
Add to the hallway. Yes, that's always a great feeling. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you both for coming on the show. I have the same sentiments that Jay has. Obviously, Katie, for you being at Eastland, it's got to be exciting being back at your alma mater. It's awesome. We wish you the best success there. And as Jay stated, hopefully you guys can continue to add hardware there. You guys, especially in the ladies side of sports, have really been an upper echelon program in multiple sports. So it's great to see. And then, for you, Trixie, I'm really excited. I'm a Michigan fan, not Central Michigan, but I am a Michigan fan.
Close
so
enough.
It is. And really excited for you to be going to Central Michigan to play volleyball, to carry on a great lineage of what we've had for NUIC athletes coming out and moving on to the next level. So we wish you the best of success moving forward. And with that, we hope you have a successful regular season the rest of the way as well. And look forward to you on the basketball court this year with Brinker.
Oh, thank you. I'm pretty excited for it. So.
All right. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Transform your outdoors with Baber Service Company. Landscape design and construction, including retaining walls and patios, mulch and rock beds, seasonal cleanups, and so much more. Serving Joe Davies, Carroll, Stevenson, Winnebago, Whiteside, Ogle, and Lee counties. Enhance your outdoor space with expert craftsmanship and attention to detail. Contact Baber Service Company today at 815-291-6334.
Jay, we just got done talking with Katie Krogman-Grobe and Trixie Carroll, and, it was a great conversation. There was a lot of good questions, and I felt like they answered them really well as far as the challenges that they had. They both touched in on the mental side of the game as well, along with, facing different adversity and challenges, and then, of course, coming back and speaking to, the success that they want to continue to drive for Eastland athletics as a whole. And you could just see that vision from both of them as they continue to move forward on what has already started out to be a pretty successful start of the season for the volleyball program there for the Cougars.
Yeah, I think that's one of the always positive and negatives. Coach coming back to an alma mater, you want to do well, and your first year you get given Division I talent, Trixie Carroll, and it's one of those things you're blessed with that, but sometimes it's also a curse because the expectation is here and where you want to be, but you're also getting your feet wet with a new team for them to understand what you want as a coach, right? So it's kind of learning on the run. They've fared well. I think we're sitting at 5-2. Did very well down at the Oregon tournament. They're gonna now, get some conference play going on, and they're probably one of the favorites to win conference. And, I think we're going to hear their name throughout the season, end of the season, and making a run in regionals.
Well, and what's very cool too is that with the new subsectional seeding that they have going, the whole subsectional is going to get seeded the proper way rather than 1 through 4 and then regional. So that'll help out a lot too, and should lead to some exciting playoff time once we reach the end of October here.
Yeah, I think it's on the right direction. It's still not what we've talked about before.
Right, correct.
Of what we'd love to see I would love to see the top 4 are the host.
Yes.
And then everybody from there, but it's still better than what it was of, being one-sided or whatever, that you seed now. You have your host. You go to it and it's a little more, you don't have one side loaded more than the other. So it's on the positive. But yeah, we're going to see them at the end with as much talent as they got. And they're playing some young players, as Coach said. They're not going to be freshmen come game 22 to 25 to, towards that last week of the season. They're going to be playing much above their age. And that's what with them having success already with them as freshmen, you're going to see it just grow from here on out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Coach Katie Krogman-Grobe touched on too, was that fact that she does have some good upperclassmen talent, but then she's also got some lower underclassmen that she's got to try to build and bring up. And, it's one of those things where Eastland's always had a great culture, especially on the women's side of sports. And, bringing her back into a program where she herself saw a lot of success under great coaches like Christy Pierce, like Colleen Finhenzy, like Nicole Brinker. All that's already embedded into her, and I see a lot of great things for her. I think this is a great position for her to be in.
Yeah, I think when you have that upbringing and what the expectation is, um, you don't know any different. So in her mind, what she's been a part of, what she's seen when she talks to coaches there, it's all been the same thing. It's all been about, check this box, and this box. So know there's going to be success there. Know they're going to be ready. And like, we've talked about every Eastland team, they normally play their best towards playoff time. And I think that will be no different for them this year.
So taking a look at playoff time, we just got done with the Oregon volleyball tournament. We saw a lot of success. Stockton came away as the overall champion. Great buildup coming off of their state runner-up a season ago. And, we had quite a few players that made the all-tournament team. You want to give us a rundown of those?
Yep, and from what we could find out, we had Lola Robertson from Durand, Finley Banks and Haley Kirchner from Dakota, Lila Grindy, Maya Diffenderfer, Emily Goebel from Lee Wynn, Trixie Carroll and Morgan McCullough from Eastland, Emma Eisfeller, Taylor Haas, and Kadra Wright from Stockton, and Kylie Blakely from Orangeville. So NUIC very well represented, and you look down that list of teams there, you seen the Lee Winds, you seen the Stocktons, you seen the Eastlands, all making their way. And it was, my thing to look at was just right before that, Lee Wynn went to Stockton and beat them at Stockton, and then they had the matchup already at the tournament, and Stockton was successful in that. So already you're seeing some matchups down the line that will play a factor into things. In the volleyball side, already early this year, you've seen the Stocktons, the Eastlands, the Lee Winds, and Galena, all kind of doing what's expected of their programs. And that's what we're going to see here. And the Durands, we're going to see here in the next couple of weeks if there's any teams that we didn't talk about making that push. But right now, those teams are looking in mid-season form.
Definitely going to be a lot of fun as we continue to move forward in the volleyball season. Obviously, the NUIC has been very decorated over the past 15 years or so on the volleyball scene at the state level. A lot of big things look forward to this year as we hope to get another team back down to Redbird Arena.
Yeah, and I think, we'll go into football next, but I think you're seeing some teams step up, and we've seen some teams really step up this last week on the football side that caught some eyes. But on the volleyball side, there are very many teams that you could look at that can beat any team on any given night, and they've shown already. So it's going to be a very, very exciting conference season. And then when it breaks out into the regional, and we're not, we talk about being far away. We're not that far away. A month from now, 4 weeks from now, we'll be talking conference races, and then we'll be talking seedings for regionals.
Yeah, it's going to go by very fast. I mean, when you take a look at it as a whole, you're going to have that seeding preparation taking place here in about 4 weeks already, roughly 4 to 5.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the brackets will be coming out, and then play begins, and it'll be a quick 3 weeks there too.
Yeah. And all these games matter, and I think that's what, as a coach, and as anything, every game matters of wins and losses, because everything's used in the seeding process of who beats who and who loses to who. So whether it's the first week or the last week of regional seeding, every game matters. But we're seeing the teams we talked about early doing what they're supposed to do.
Speaking of games that matter, we had a big one on the football side of things this week between Lena Winslow and Stockton. Lena Winslow was ranked number 1 in state. Stockton was ranked by the AP number 8, but in our NUIC football polls, they were ranked number 4.
Yep.
Stockton putting down the hammer in a 38-14 win there.
Yeah, I think, how do I say it? I think it's one of those things that you could kind of see coming. I think if you talk to any coach, I think, and just speaking for myself, normality is something that you really like. And I think with everything going on, which it had to go on, I think, you're doing all these things that are out of what your norm is to prepare for a game. Stockton had talked about this. I mean, since last year, you heard parents talking about it on message boards and everything like that of this game and the magnitude of it and winning. And they were successful and the better team that day won. For me, it's one of those things. We'll see what the next 7 weeks bring and where they're at when they meet in playoffs and but I'm still one that's not going to bet against the Lee Win team in November. I'm just one of those guys. I am one of those that until you beat them when it matters, and playoff time in football matters. But for the first time, I think that I can recall watching a football game against the Lee Win team. I think when you talk Stockton backfield, Lena backfield, they both have studs in the backfield and Jace. 43.
Alex Schlichting. And the running back for Messendijk for Jack Messendijk.
Yep, for Stockton. I think you put either of them on either team, they're studs.
Yeah.
But I think the quarterback play of Stockton, I don't think there was I've seen a quarterback play as well as he has against the Lee Win team in a long time, and he was the difference maker in that game with the early conversions and every stop he made the play and the receivers made the play. But in all of that happening, I think for the first time when you're watching a football game, and I watched it from home, when you're watching the line of scrimmage, that's the first time I've seen the line of scrimmage not be dominated by a Lee Win football team.
Yes. Stockton definitely had the stronghold up front. Noah Larson, the QB for Stockton, like you said, almost perfect. 8 for 9 passing. Big night. 2 touchdown passes on top of that. Couple 2-point conversion throws as well that don't get included in the overall stats, but still very, very meticulous and methodical on how he was able to operate in that offense. Definitely propelled Stockton early on too, because Lena Winslow was able to stop Stockton a couple different times on third down, and then the fourth down play comes, or the third down play comes, and it's a pass over top, and all of a sudden, new down and distance.
Yeah, and I don't think we know this, but I think sometimes when you're just watching the game, I don't think you know how much that deflates a team when you're getting them to 3rd and long or 4th and long, and they're converting. And special shout out, I thought the quarterback play of Stockton, the game plan of Stockton, the physicality of Stockton was just unmatched for one of the first times I've seen it. I'm going to take that for the game, and I think Lee Win's going to come out and do their thing in the next couple weeks. Stockton's going to do that, but I don't think either team is going to look ahead, but we can. And I think when you see that next meeting, which may happen, I think you really thought when it got to 30-14 and they ran the sweep around the edge, and it got to 30-14, you thought, okay, this next drive, if Lee Win gets a stop, they're back in it. You've seen it so many times, and I think the momentum shifter was then they didn't pass. They just ran it right off left tackle at the strong point of Lee Win, and they couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
And that's tough to watch too as a coach, is you couldn't stop dive. I mean, they just physically at the point of attack, they dominated.
Yeah.
And that's a credit to their coaches and staff. I mean, when you talk of a Coach Downey and their coaching staff, I think the first thing I always think of is a physical toughness that you bring in with a Coach Downey and a Coach Ashe, right?
Yep.
I think it's just one of those things that, like, they walk onto a football field, and if a fight breaks out,
They're going to be in the middle of it.
They're going to be in the middle of it. They're probably going to win, right? Coach Ashley is somebody you want on your side if something happens, and it just that bleeds into the team, and that is bled into their team, and just on a good level to where they just mentally are tough, and mentally they're physical, and mentally they have all the right things right now as a football team.
So Dupec moves to 2-0. They got the win over Fulton 34-21. EPC also moves to 2-0 as they shut out Morrison 22-0. That's going to lead to a big game coming up because Galena also moves to 2-0 with a 34-14 win over Benton Scales Mount Shullsburg. EPC Galena play this week in Lanark.
Yeah, and that'll be a big game for them because, like we always talk about, it's the count to 5 in the NUIC to become playoff eligible. I think in the teams we talked earlier in Stockton and Lee Wynn, they're going to be there at the end. I think Dupec will probably be there at the end. They're a quality team that will get those wins to get to the playoff. But when you look at the Galena EPC games, those are the games in the NUIC that it's like, okay, those are the difference between a 5-4 and playing a 9-0. And those are the difference, a 6-3 or 7-2 season that you may host or go to a non-NUIC team that everyone's looking for.
Right, correct. Forston got themselves into the win column with a 50-14 win over Dakota for their first win on the season. And, looking forward to see what Forston can do as their schedule starts to toughen up. The 8-man side, we saw Amboy beat Christian Life 64-12. River Ridge comes back down 20-0 against Bushnell Prairie City to pull out the 40-38 win on Saturday afternoon. AFC battled very well with West Central, but came up short 18-6. Looking for a good return to AFC Raider football, especially with new head coach Josh Stone. They're so far looking pretty good out of the gates to get the season going. No surprise with Polo getting the win 40-20 over Flanagan Cornell Woodland. West Carroll moves to 2-0, which sets up another big game this week on the 8-man side as they're going to play host to Polo. Both teams 2-0. West Carroll has shut out both opponents so far on the season. They beat West Prairie 56-0. Milledgeville gets their improved record to 2-0 now with the win over Abundant Life 46-20, which really was a bigger separation than what the final score was. And then Orangeville, unfortunately, got the blow to South Beloit 64-12, the only team in our 8-man ranks that has yet to pick up a win this year.
Yeah, we'll start from the top. I think Amboy getting to 1-1. We've seen that coming. River Ridge, that was a little bit of a surprise, being down 20-0. We were listening to that game. You were listening to that, giving updates. Good comeback win for them, 40-38. Good bus ride back because that was held. That was an away game. Yeah, that was, so whenever you win a game like that, that's always a great bus ride back. You lose a game like that, it's a long bus ride back, right? Good to see AFC. They have been non-in games the last couple years, and they've played some tough games so far. Not in the win side, but competitive, and that's what you want to be. Polo doing what Polo does. West Carroll, again, showing that they're going to be a force again in 8-man. And Milledgeville, I think it's a consensus that they're probably the team to beat right now. They're loaded with talent. They got a quarterback who is a sophomore that played a big role last year as a freshman and finished runner-up. So they got that. And we talk about teams that are tough and physical and do those things. That's always a Coach Roble team.
Yes, it is.
Coach Roble, another guy.
You don't want to get in a fight with.
You give me Coach Ashley and Coach Roble, I'll go against anybody. I'll be about 3 inches taller against anybody if I'm walking with those guys. And then the Orangeville game, that one got out of hand. We can talk about that a little bit, but they need to get healthy. And being close to that, they need to get healthy. And losing Schofield, he's still getting carries, but he's not the same player after the injury early in that game against Alden Hebron. Hopefully he can get back to healthy and they can lick their wounds, and they go to River Ridge this week. So we'll see at 0-2 and 1-1, and hopefully, it can be a better football game than the South Beloit game.
Big things there, though, with Schofield, as he's already reaching that 500-yard rushing mark on the season, and quickly moving up the I8FA career all-time rushing list. And he's only a junior, so you still got another year of Hayden Schofield to look at too.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, and not to speak too much of it, but seeing it from a view like you were Saturday, you can see the some of the parts are there. It's just when you lose a player on a side of a ball for the time being, unable to play, any team can suffer from that, but you got to pick yourself up and you got to play football and you got to tackle and you got to be aggressive. And that's something in that, that you see from other teams and everybody has to deal with. I mean, as a season goes on for all of these teams, you can make every excuse in the book you want, but at the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror and you got to get better. And that goes for everything, whether we're talking football or volleyball. I mean, shit happens, right?
Yeah.
Like it does, but you got to be above that, and you got to take it upon yourself that you're going to make the play. And these teams that have lost a player or are fighting for a win or trying to stay on top, you just got to stay together. You got to move forward, and you got to play better football.
Some other news that we received today was that Fulton pitcher Chase Dykstra has committed to Iowa Central Community College, so going the JUCO route to start his collegiate career.
Yep.
Obviously, he'll be back on the mound this spring for the Steamers, so very excited there. He's got some huge upside potential with a fastball that can reach in the upper 80s at the current moment, so it'll be very good to see how he progresses during the off season right now and where he ends up when he gets back on the mound this spring.
He was one of the 1-2 punch we talked about last year that was so people didn't talk about, but I remember us talking about it, that they were kind of my sleeper and your sleeper team. Yep. to make some noise, and they did. And he was one of the 1-2 punch that if you have I'll say a man like him on the mound, with what he throws and what he does, you have a shot in every game he pitches.
Yep, for sure. So congratulations, Chase, on that commitment. Obviously, we're going to be rooting for you as you continue to move down the path of high school baseball and then roll into college baseball.
What big games, Kyle, are on the docket this week for you for football?
Well, for me, I will be pulling off the doubleheader with the time that it all works out. So I will be in Mount Carroll for the West Carroll Polo game at 5 o'clock, and then scooting over to Lanark as soon as that game comes to a close to pick up the EPC Galena game in what will most likely be our 2 games of the week this week.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things as fans and parents and coaches, make sure that the officiating side is how it is. And you're seeing, I know the Orangeville River Ridge game got moved up to 5 o'clock. The West Carroll game got moved up to 5. These officials are going to one game and then having to go to another game. Understand that as fans, parents, and coaches, that, what they're doing to allow your kid to play, they don't necessarily have to do. No. Right. So, understand that, they're putting their night on to the side so your kids can play football, and, give them a hand and tell them thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have the need inside of you to become an IHSA official, visit IHSA.org and go to the officials page and sign up, because honestly, it's a way, for one, you get paid additional money to do it, and the pay increase has been phenomenal. Yep. But on top of that, it gives you the opportunity to give back to the game as well.
Yep.
So without officials, we don't have the games that we like to go and celebrate and watch and all that fun stuff. So we need them out there. So if you can get out there, give yourself some time and do it. Outside of that, another big game is Lena Winslow Rochelle. Rochelle coming in ranked in Class 4A, and Lena Winslow licking their wounds a little bit off the big loss that they had to Stockton. That's an interesting matchup there, and that could be huge.
Yeah, that will be one to watch. I think both teams, that's going to be another matchup that, you see a 1A, 4A, and it's not a 4A that is a slouch. I mean, they're a great football team that's going to see where you're at. And that'll be the thing that, I know Coach Rand's probably going to see when everything's great and you're winning. Everything is great, but you can tell a lot by your team, after a loss.
Yeah.
There've been many teams that at Leewood that have lost the game and they went on to win what they have done, and that's win a state title. So by losing a game in week 2 doesn't affect how you're going to do. It's how you learn from it, and they're going to learn from it. I guarantee it. They're too good a football team, too well coached that they're not going to,
Right.
and they're going to use that as motivation. A Stockton team's going to do the same. They're going to say, hey, this is how we got here. This is how we did it. This is how then we're going to keep doing it. And that's the cool part about having a win like that and having a loss like that. They're both going to learn from it, move on, and get ready for week 3.
So a lot of big games coming up this week, of course, as the season continues to roll on, as we enter week 3 of the fall sports season. Get out to those games, root for your teams. As always, root for the NUIC.